Jew who votes for the Democratic Party, which has been infiltrated by Obama Hussein, who, according to Egyptian, now the Egypt has, the problem with the West is there's a line. It's called "Know Thy Enemy." People are completely ignorant that Islam was set up to conquer the world. Within 100 years after Muhammad's death, most of the known world, I shouldn't say most, but a large part, was conquered. They invented the sickle because when they were riding, they could chop off people's heads easier. It's the largest murder group in the world, over 700 million people by conservative estimates. Islam has never given up its jihadist dream. That's true. There are 5 principles of Islam that may seem innocuous, but there's a sixth that at least 50 million people and many governments, such as Iran, are engaged in, and that is called jihad, which is to take over the world. Islam means to make people submit to implement Sharia law. According to Islam, if Sharia law is not in a country, that country is in a state of war with them and they have to annihilate it. But that's the good news. The bad news is that it's gotten worse. Because if you look at the Quran, in the words of one very brilliant Jewish man, he told me, and he read the Quran in order to understand Islam. So I said, so what's the bottom line? He said, the bottom line is kill the Jew, kill the Christian. The Hamas charter quotes Muhammad's last wish, which was literally to murder Jews. Muhammad was a person who was a narcissist, a megalomaniac, never mind a rapist, a pedophile, a liar. And there's a $50,000 reward from a former Muslim to anybody that can prove that he wasn't, because everything we know comes from the hadiths, stories about Islam that happened from Islam. Everything we know comes from Islam, and this is clear in Islam. So you can't expect somebody that follows Muhammad to be less than Muhammad. The way Islam sees the world is not like any other religion. All religions see the world that there's good and evil, and if you do this, you are good, and if you don't, perhaps you are evil. Islam sees the world differently. It sees the world as Muslims or non-Muslims. If you're a Muslim, then you can go to heaven, even though it says, I think Muhammad said, that when the Messiah comes, there will be 84 different types of Islam, and 83 of them will go to hell. Be that as it may, the bottom line is that Islam looks at anybody who's a non-Muslim as an enemy. This is called zero-sum game. It's not like I see other people as friends and there's something that we can all do to get better. I see others that don't agree with me as enemies, and they are the people that need to be destroyed. In Islam, you're called a kafir, which in Hebrew means kofir, which means a heretic, one that goes against Islam. You're an infidel. You are a person slated to death. Islam today, certainly what we would call radical Islam, which again is at least 50 million people, many of them well-armed terrorists, Al-Qaeda, Iran, Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, all over the place. The Muslim Brotherhood's the sneakiest because they put people in positions of power like Obama that then do their will. He gave $50 million and $30 million respectively each time Hamas sent rockets to Israel. An American president sending terrorists money for giving death to a democratic state. We're not going to go into all the other things that he did to bolster radical Islam, such as put the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, such as help the radicals in Libya, the radicals in Syria, never mind the civil war in Yemen. This is a guy that has at least 500,000 bodies dead under his hand, and he loves it because Islam loves your death. And if you're a woman, and if you are anti-Israel and pro-Hamas, you're probably the dumbest person that ever existed because they treat their women as slaves. If you actually went there, they would rape you and they would kill you. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. Islam wants you dead. It wants you dead now. The only thing that's keeping you alive, in fact, is the American army, is the Israeli army, the armies that are stopping them at bay. Iran is working on a nuclear weapon. I asked an Iranian because I needed to understand why they would be putting so much effort. They have oil. They don't need it for anything but a weapon. So he said it's simple. They believe, the Iranians hate the government, that when the world will be filled up to a horse's knee with blood, the Messiah will come. Obama was helping them get that weapon. Do you want people that believe that when the world will be up to a horse's knee in blood, the Messiah will come? That believe that the Messiah is in some well that they're praying there, that really believe this? To you, it might sound crazy that it's not real. But as Robert Uman, a professor and a Nobel Prize winner, that won, he has a center of rationality in Israel. And he says, Muslims and terrorists are not irrational. Maybe what they're doing is based on a false idea, but they're very rational. They have a bad idea and they're following through with it. Many of us have bad ideas and we follow through with them. They have a bad idea that they inherited, but they believe it and they're going to do it. And literally right now, the Western governments are not going to protect you. Even, to be honest, the Republicans, Trump was in power. They did not get rid of the threat from Iran. The Republicans are not going to protect you. The Democrats are not going to protect you. Frankly speaking, Israel hasn't taken out the threat from Iran either. The only hope you have, literally for life itself, is God. Pray to God. Give your life to God. Because rationally speaking, as Einstein said, I don't know what World War III will be fought with. But World War IV was sticks and stones. Because he realized, as he said, had I realized that it's not the bomb that detonates, but it's the person that detonates the bomb, it would have better been that I should have been a watchmaker instead of the person that gave the technology to invent the atom bomb. This is really true. Okay, love you.